Welcome back to Hidden Stories. We are so glad you're here. Today, we bring you a powerful story about faith, trust, and the lessons we learn when we lean on God above all else. Life may challenge us, and mistakes may happen, but God's guidance and restoration are always real. Sit back, open your heart, and allow this story to inspire, encourage, and remind you of the peace that comes from trusting Him completely.
Father God, thank you for the gift of another day. Thank you for waking me up when so many didn't get the chance. Lord, before I step out today, I place my heart, my thoughts, and my decisions in your hands. I don't want to move ahead of you, and I don't want to lag behind you either. Guide my steps today, Lord. Order my thoughts. Help me to choose what is right, even when it's uncomfortable. Help me to speak truth, even when silence feels easier. I want my actions to please you, not people. I want my life to reflect your will, not my fears or desires. If there is any path that looks good, but will lead me away from you, give me the courage to turn away from it. Father God, thank you for the gift of another day. Thank you for waking me up when so many didn't get the chance. Lord, before I step out today, I place my heart, my thoughts, and my decisions in your hands. I don't want to move ahead of you, and I don't want to lag behind you either. Guide my steps today, Lord. Order my thoughts. Help me to choose what is right, even when it's uncomfortable. Help me to speak truth, even when silence feels easier. I want my actions to please you, not people. I want my life to reflect your will, not my fears or desires. If there is any path that looks good, but will lead me away from you, give me the courage to turn away from it. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. Lord, I admit that sometimes I trust my own understanding more than I trust you. I look at opportunities and judge them by what I can gain, not by what they might cost my soul. Today, I surrender that habit. I want to trust you fully, even when the outcome isn't clear. Even when obedience feels risky.
Message from Lucas, big opportunity today. Don't overthink it.
Big opportunity. Or big compromise? Lord, is this you opening a door? Or is this a test of my obedience? I asked you to guide my steps, and now I'm already being pulled in another direction. Help me not to rush ahead of you just because something looks promising. Help me not to silence your voice just because someone else sounds confident.
Same message from Lucas, big opportunity today. Don't overthink it.
I don't want to make the wrong choice. But I also don't want to miss out. Man, I've been waiting for you. I knew you'd show up looking all serious like you always do. Relax a little. This is a good day. I'm relaxed. I'm just thinking things through. See? That's exactly what I mean. You think too much. Look, prayer is good, don't get me wrong, but sometimes you just have to act fast. If you wait on God too long, opportunities pass you by, and someone else grabs them. I don't see it that way. I've learned that when I rush decisions, I usually regret them. That's why I pray before major choices. I need clarity, not pressure. Clarity doesn't pay bills, man. Timing does. While you're waiting for a sign, the world is moving. Success doesn't wait for people to feel spiritual peace. But what's the point of success if it pulls me away from who I'm trying to be? I don't want to win fast and lose myself in the process. That right there, that mindset, is exactly why you're always late to success. You're cautious to the point of being stuck. You overanalyze everything until the window closes. I wouldn't call it being stuck. I'd call it being careful. I believe God sees what I can't see. What looks like a delay to you might be protection to Him. Protection? Or fear dressed up as faith? Be honest with yourself. Sometimes people say God told me to wait when they are just afraid to take a risk. I'm not afraid of hard work or risk. I'm afraid of compromising my values just to get ahead. I've seen people rise quickly and fall even faster. You talk like life is a sermon. Real life doesn't work like that. Winners move first and ask questions later. And I believe real winners know when to stop, pray, and listen. I don't want to run so fast that I outrun God. Suit yourself. Just don't complain when you're still in the same place next year. I'd rather be in the right place slowly than in the wrong place quickly.
Ethan, I've watched you long enough to know when something is bothering you. You are here physically, but your mind is somewhere else. Ever since you mentioned Lucas earlier, you've been distant. So let me ask you plainly, did you pray about what Lucas suggested, or are you carrying this decision alone?
Not yet. Not really. I mean, I've thought about it, weighed the pros and cons, tried to be logical about it. Lucas has been in this space for years, and he sounds so sure of himself. He talks like this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and I keep thinking maybe he sees something I don't.
I understand trusting people who seem confident and experienced. But confidence doesn't always mean clarity, and experience doesn't always mean alignment with God's will. Prayer isn't just something we do when we're unsure, it's how we make sure our steps are not only smart, but safe.
I'm just tired, Rachel. Tired of always feeling like I'm waiting while everyone else is moving ahead. Lucas keeps reminding me of how much time I've already lost. He makes it sound like if I pause again, I'll miss my chance completely. I don't want to look back and realize fear disguised itself as faith.
And I don't want you to look back and realize pressure disguised itself as opportunity. Just remember, people see opportunities, but God sees consequences. People focus on what looks good now, but God sees how it will affect your integrity, your peace, your future, and even the people connected to you.
When you say it like that, it makes me uneasy. But part of me still wonders if I'm overthinking. What if this is God opening a door, and I'm standing there hesitating because I am afraid of change?
If it's truly God opening the door, Ethan, He won't be offended if you stop to pray before walking through it. God doesn't rush His children into confusion. Anything meant for you will still be yours after prayer. But anything that pushes you to move without Him should make you pause.
I don't want to disappoint you. I don't want to disappoint God either. I just want to do something that finally moves us forward.
And you will. But moving forward without God can quietly move you backward in ways you won't notice until it's too late. Take the time to pray. Listen before you leap. Success that costs your peace is too expensive. When God whispers, the wise listen. His voice is often gentle, not forced, not loud, and never frantic. But when other voices grow louder, voices of pressure, fear, ambition, and urgency, discernment is tested. The question is not whether God is speaking, but whether the heart is still enough to hear Him.
I know I should pray. I know what the right thing usually looks like. But why does obedience always feel like waiting, and disobedience always feel like progress? Why does the quiet path feel so uncertain, while the loud one feels so sure? Lucas sounds confident. He sounds prepared. He speaks like someone who has already figured life out. And here I am, still asking questions, still hesitating, still hoping I don't make the wrong move. What if this is my chance to finally break free from delay? God, you see my heart. You know I am not trying to run from you. I'm just trying to move forward. Maybe this time I don't need to overthink it. Maybe faith also means taking a step, even if everything isn't clear yet.
The still voice of God does not compete. It waits. It convicts without condemning. But when the heart is crowded with noise, even truth can sound like doubt, and warnings can feel like weakness. Ethan picks up his phone now, scrolling through old messages from Lucas.
Just this once. I'll go along with it. I'll pray later. After things settle. After I secure the opportunity.
And in that moment, the decision was not made with rebellion, but with neglect. Not with defiance, but with delay. And sometimes, ignoring God does not begin with saying no, it begins with saying not now.
Ethan, let me say this clearly and with love, never replace God's voice with human confidence. People can sound convincing, certain, and even well-intentioned, but confidence does not equal calling. The loudest voice in your life should never drown out the still, guiding voice of God. That's exactly what I'm struggling with, Pastor. I don't want to miss out on what could finally be my breakthrough. I've waited, prayed, and watched others move ahead while I've been careful and patient. This opportunity feels like a chance to catch up, and I'm afraid that if I hesitate again, I'll be left behind. I understand that fear. It's a common one. But let me remind you of something important. God does not bless haste that ignores Him. What He has for you will not require you to abandon prayer, peace, or principles. If an opportunity pressures you to rush past obedience, it is already asking too much. But what if my hesitation is just fear wearing a spiritual mask? What if I keep waiting for perfect clarity that never comes, while life keeps moving without me? There's a difference between fear and discernment. Fear paralyzes, but discernment pauses. Discernment asks questions. Discernment seeks God before seeking gain. Obedience never causes loss, disobedience does. Sometimes the loss is immediate, and sometimes it's delayed, but it always comes. So you're saying even if this looks like success, it could still be the wrong step? Yes. Because success without God's approval is just progress in the wrong direction. God is not interested in how fast you move if you're moving away from Him. He's more concerned with who you become along the way. I just want to do the right thing. I don't want to look back and realize I chose wrong because I was impatient. Or because I listened to the wrong voice. Then listen carefully now. God is not trying to trick you or hide His will from you. If you choose obedience, even when it feels costly, He will redeem that choice. You may not see the reward immediately, but you will never regret honoring God. Ethan, take a breath. I know this looks like a lot on paper, but this is how every major breakthrough starts. Nothing big ever comes without a little risk. You've trusted me this far, so trust me now. This will change your life in ways you've been praying for. I've read through these pages 3 times, and I still feel unsettled. Something about this doesn't sit right with me. I keep hearing advice from different directions, and it's making it hard to know which voice I should be listening to. That's just nerves. Everyone feels that way before stepping into something new. Don't confuse fear with wisdom. You ask for growth, you ask for opportunity. This is it. If you hesitate now, the window closes, and someone else will take your place. I was told that if something is right, it should come with peace. Right now, I feel pressured more than peaceful. Peace comes after you act, not before. Once you see the results, all this doubt will disappear. Sometimes you have to move first and let confidence catch up later. I don't want to make a decision I'll regret. I don't want to look back and realize I ignored warnings because I wanted quick progress. You're overthinking again. You've done your part. You've prayed enough. At some point, Faith means stepping out, not standing still. Sign the papers, Ethan. This is your moment. I hope I'm not making a mistake. There you go. You won't regret this. I promise you, this decision is going to change your life. Ethan, I wish you could see yourself from the outside right now. All that stress you carried, all those nights you stayed awake questioning every step, all those long conversations about whether this was the right move, and look where it landed you. Everything went through smoothly, exactly the way I said it would. No complications, no surprises. You worried yourself for nothing, man, absolutely nothing. Yeah. I can admit that, at least on the surface, things seem fine. The documents are signed, the process moved faster than I expected, and nothing has gone wrong yet. I guess part of me feels relieved that my fears didn't immediately turn into problems. That's because fear has a way of exaggerating things that were never going to happen. You let your mind run ahead of reality. If you had kept listening to all those doubts, you'd still be standing on the sidelines watching other people take the chances meant for you. Maybe. But I can't ignore the fact that even while we're sitting here celebrating, I feel like something inside me hasn't fully settled. It's like my mind understands that this looks like progress, but my heart keeps asking whether this progress came at a cost I haven't seen yet. That's just what happens when you're not used to winning. Success can feel uncomfortable at first, because it challenges the version of you that's used to waiting. Give it time. Once the results start showing up, that uneasy feeling will disappear, and you'll wonder why you ever doubted this move. I want to believe that. I really do. I just hope this celebration isn't premature. I hope we're not applauding a decision before we've fully seen where it leads. I don't want to smile today and regret tomorrow. You're always thinking 10 steps ahead. For once, enjoy the moment. Not every win needs to be questioned. Sometimes a good thing is just a good thing. Alright. We toast to hoping this really is the beginning of something good, and not just a calm before something else. To bold decisions, fast moves, and finally stepping out instead of holding back. This wasn't part of the plan at all. None of this was mentioned. How did we go from what we agreed on to this? These numbers. These terms. They're completely different from what I signed. I don't understand. I thought I did everything right. I prayed, I asked for guidance, and now it feels like everything is spinning out of control. I trusted that if I made the right choice, things would go smoothly. I believed that by stepping forward in faith, God would lead the way. But now it looks like this decision. It's not just risky, it might be dangerous. And I didn't see it coming. This wasn't part of the plan at all. None of this was mentioned. How did we go from what we agreed on to this? These numbers. These terms. They're completely different from what I signed. I don't understand. I thought I did everything right. I prayed, I asked for guidance, and now it feels like everything is spinning out of control. Ethan, relax. I can see you're already starting to panic. This is just how business works sometimes. There are bumps, small issues that come up when you're moving fast and thinking big. None of this is unexpected, and none of it is a disaster. Trust me, you just have to stay the course. Stay the course? Lucas, this isn't a small bump. These emails. These changes. They weren't even part of what we discussed. This could ruin everything. I mean, I didn't sign up for hidden risks, for unexpected obligations, for things that could pull me into trouble I never imagined. Ethan, I promise you're overreacting, You're seeing the surface and letting fear take over. Every big move has complications. That's just the reality. The important thing is that you don't stop. You don't back down. You keep pushing forward, because that's how success works. Those emails. They're nothing you can't handle. Nothing I can't handle? I followed advice, I trusted this path, and now it feels like I'm standing on the edge of a cliff with no safety net. I thought I was supposed to have peace about this. I thought God would guide me. But right now it feels like I ignored the warning signs. Fear is natural. Doubt is natural. But don't let either stop you. You already made the choice, and now you have to follow through. That's what separates people who succeed from people who wait forever and watch opportunity pass them by. Stay calm. Stay focused. Everything will work out. You'll see. No. This can't be happening. I double-checked everything. I went through every step carefully, or at least I thought I did. I prayed, I trusted the plan, I trusted Lucas. I did everything I could think of to make this work. And now my account. Everything is gone. How? How did it get this far without me noticing? How did I let this happen? This wasn't supposed to happen. I signed those documents because I trusted someone I thought had my best interest at heart. I ignored the quiet warnings, the doubts in my own heart, the advice Pastor Andrew gave me. I told myself I was just being cautious. That hesitation was fear. But now it looks like it wasn't fear, it was God trying to protect me. And I ignored him. I ignored his still, gentle voice telling me to pause, to pray, to wait. And look where I am now, everything I worked for, everything I hoped for, disappearing in front of me. God. I thought I could handle this on my own. I thought I could combine your guidance with human wisdom, with someone else's confidence, with the pressure to succeed. I thought I could step forward without fully stopping to listen to you. I thought I could chase opportunity without risk. I thought I was ready for anything. But I wasn't. I wasn't ready for this. And now it's all gone. This is what obedience looks like, isn't it? The loss I feel now. The panic. The emptiness. This is the cost of ignoring your voice, God. I wanted to be bold. I wanted to move fast. I wanted to trust human advice more than yours. And now, I see that doing the right thing doesn't always feel like immediate success. Doing right sometimes feels like loss. But disobedience always leads to this kind of destruction.
When we ignore the voice of God, when we chase human wisdom over divine guidance, loss is not always immediate, but it is inevitable. Sometimes it comes with a crash that wakes us, a jolt that forces us to confront the choices we made, and the paths we took. And in that moment, the heart learns what the mind refused to see. Obedience is never wasted, but disobedience always comes with a cost.
You said this was safe. You promised me, you assured me over and over that this opportunity, this plan, this deal, it was guaranteed to work. I trusted you. I believed you. I signed those documents, I followed your instructions, I put everything I had into this. And now, everything is gone. My account is drained, the terms were changed, the emails. Everything is unraveling before my eyes. How could you let this happen? How could you lead me into this? You painted this as a sure thing. You made it sound like I just had to trust you and follow through, and I did. I didn't just sign papers, I put my faith in you, in your words, in your so-called expertise. And now I'm left with nothing. Do you even understand what this feels like? Do you know what it means to realize that you've ignored God's warning signs? You've ignored every voice of caution, and it all leads to ruin? This isn't just money, it's trust, it's my security, it's my peace of mind, and you. You were supposed to help, not destroy it. Ethan. Take a breath and listen carefully. I never forced you to do anything. Every decision you made was yours. I laid out the plan, I showed you the path, and I offered my advice. You chose to trust me. Nobody twisted your arm, nobody forced you to sign those documents. You made the choice, every step of the way. If things went wrong, it's not because I misled you. It's because you made a choice without doing your own due diligence, without fully waiting on God's guidance, and now you're paying the consequences. So you're saying this entire disaster is my fault? That I'm the one to blame for trusting someone who I thought had my best interest at heart? I followed every instruction you gave me because I believed in your judgment. And now, you're standing there, telling me I'm the one who failed because I didn't stop and think more? Because I didn't pray more? Because I didn't listen to the voice of God as clearly as I should have? Exactly. I can't force anyone to think or pray. I can't make anyone listen to God for them. I can show them possibilities, I can encourage them, I can guide them, but the final decision, that always rests with you. You chose to act, you chose to trust me, and now you're learning a lesson the hard way. Life doesn't always hand out guarantees, Ethan. You wanted to step boldly without waiting for clarity, and this is what happens when caution and obedience are ignored. So what am I supposed to do now? Sit back and accept that I've been deceived by confidence and manipulation? That my hard work, my trust, my prayers, everything I thought would protect me, it was all wasted because I didn't pause when I should have? You pause when it's time. You move when it's time. You make mistakes. And you learn. This is your learning moment, Ethan. Not mine. And it's harsh, yes, but it's reality. Nothing good comes without risk, and nothing is ever guaranteed when people choose to ignore the right guidance. You wanted boldness. Now you're getting the full lesson that boldness without wisdom can hurt.
Ethan. I've been watching you all day. I know your mind is racing 1,000 miles an hour, and your heart feels like it's carrying the weight of the world. I see the fear in your eyes, the regret that won't let you breathe, and I want you to know. I'm here. We'll survive this. We will.
I thought I was making the right choice. I thought I was stepping into a moment that would finally change everything for the better. I thought that trusting Lucas, following the plan, being bold, that it would bring the reward I prayed for. But now I just see loss. I see mistakes I can't undo. I see opportunities I thought were blessings, but were actually traps. And I don't know where to start fixing it.
Ethan, I understand. And it hurts, I know it does. It's okay to feel the weight of what's happened, to grieve the losses, to acknowledge the mistakes. But that's not the end of the story. This moment, as painful as it is, can be a beginning. A turning point. We can face this together, but we have to stop trying to fix everything on our own and return to the one who never leads us wrong.
Return to God. Even after everything I've ignored? Even after I trusted the wrong voice, followed the wrong advice, and ended up here? How do I even begin to come back when it feels like I've failed so completely?
You begin by admitting where you went wrong, Ethan. You begin by acknowledging the choices you made without fully listening to him, without waiting on his guidance. And then you stop trying to control the outcome yourself. You bring every fear, every regret, every loss to him, and you trust that he can take even the pieces of what seems broken and turn them into something new. Faith isn't about never falling. It's about getting back up and holding on to God even when the path is dark. That's how we survive. That's how we rebuild. That's how we find peace again.
You're right. I can't undo what's been done, but maybe I can start here. Right now. I can stop blaming, stop panicking, and start seeking Him again. I need to. I need to let God have this mess I've made, instead of trying to fix it all myself.
That's all it takes, Ethan. One step. One prayer. One moment of surrender. Everything else will follow. We'll face this together, and God will guide every step if we truly return to Him. And I promise, we'll get through this.
Lord, I come to you now, humbled, broken, and ashamed. I trusted people more than I trusted you. I thought I could lean on human wisdom, on confidence, on promises made by men. I thought I knew what was best. I thought I could handle everything on my own. And I was wrong. So wrong, Lord. I ignored your warnings, I ignored the still small voice you placed in my heart, and I followed what seemed easy, what seemed certain. And now I see the consequences of my choices. I feel lost, Lord. I feel like I walked straight into a trap, like the world I was trying to build for myself has crumbled before me. Every step I took without you. Every decision I made relying on someone else's advice. It led me away from peace and toward destruction. And I am so sorry. Forgive me, Lord. Forgive me for ignoring you, for questioning your timing, for letting fear and pride guide me instead of your truth. Lord, I surrender it all to you. All the mistakes, all the losses, all the regrets. I give them to you. I can't fix this on my own. I can't undo the damage, I can't control the outcome, and I can't rely on my own understanding. But I can return to you. I can trust that even in this brokenness, you are still faithful. You are still good. You are still able to restore what has been lost, to heal what has been wounded, and to guide me through the darkness I've brought upon myself. Help me, Lord. Teach me to listen fully, to trust completely, and to walk in obedience even when it's hard. Help me to seek your guidance first, not human advice. Help me to walk in your wisdom, not my own understanding. Lord, I am broken before you. I am nothing without you. Please, take this mess I've made, and show me the way forward. Restore my heart, restore my faith, restore my life.
True restoration begins when the heart is broken before God. Repentance is not just saying sorry, it is surrender, humility, and a willingness to be guided by Him alone. When we return fully, He restores what was lost and leads us on the path of true peace.
I read this verse again this morning. Proverbs 3 verse 5. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. I've read it countless times before, but today it feels different. I think I finally understand what it means to truly trust. Not just in moments when everything is easy, not just when the path seems clear and everyone else is saying, go for it. But trust even when the road looks uncertain, even when human advice is loud and convincing, even when fear whispers that I'm falling behind. For so long, I leaned on my own understanding. And on the understanding of others. I thought human confidence could guide me better than God's wisdom. I thought bold moves would bring blessings. I thought I could skip waiting, skip prayer, skip discernment. And I was wrong. The losses, the mistakes, the heartache, they all taught me the same lesson. God's understanding is perfect. His timing is flawless. And even when I cannot see the way forward, even when everything looks like chaos, His word is my anchor, and His voice is my compass.
That's right, Ethan. Trusting God isn't just memorizing verses or quoting scripture when life is easy. Trusting God means fully surrendering, even when you don't understand, even when people around you seem to have it figured out. It means bringing every fear, every doubt, every decision before Him and saying, "Lord, I cannot do this on my own. Lead me. Guide me. I will follow." That is true trust. And the more you practice it, the more His peace replaces your panic, and His wisdom becomes clearer than any human advice.
Lord, I choose to trust You with all my heart. I choose to stop leaning on what I think I know, on what I feel pressure to do, or on the voices of others. I surrender my mistakes, my doubts, my past choices. And I will walk in Your understanding, not my own. Let Your wisdom guide me today, tomorrow, and always.
Proverbs 3 verse 5, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding."
Ethan, I want you to hear this very clearly, because I know your heart has been heavy. God restores those who return in humility. Not those who return only when it's convenient, not those who return only when they've lost everything, but those who come back with a broken and honest heart, acknowledging their mistakes and surrendering fully. True restoration begins in humility. It begins in a place where the pride, the fear, and the desire to control are set aside, and the heart says, "Lord, I cannot do this alone. I need You. I understand, Pastor. I see now that I tried to walk ahead of God, to trust people more than You, to follow advice that wasn't in line with His guidance. I thought I was being bold. I thought I was moving forward. But all I did was rush into loss, confusion, and regret. I want to surrender, truly this time. Not just in words, but in my actions, in my thoughts, in everything I do. I want to walk with God, not just rely on what seems right to me or to others." Yes, Ethan. That's exactly where restoration begins. God's work is always redemptive. He takes what seems lost, what seems broken, and turns it into something stronger, wiser, and lasting. But the key is that you return fully, without excuses, without holding back, without trying to justify your past decisions. You must come with a heart that is teachable, pliable, and willing to be guided. The moment you do, God begins His restoration, spiritually, emotionally, and even in your circumstances. He never leaves those who return to Him in humility. Lord, I come before You like that. Fully aware of my mistakes, fully aware of my failures. I surrender my fears, my regrets, my desire to control everything, and I ask You to guide me. I don't want to lean on my own understanding ever again. I want to follow You completely, trusting Your wisdom, Your timing, and Your protection. Ethan, that's faith in action. That's trust in the Lord with all your heart. As you continue walking in humility, you will see the evidence of God's restoration, not always immediately, but always surely. He will provide wisdom for every decision, clarity for every step, and peace that surpasses understanding even in the midst of uncertainty. Remember, restoration is a process, but it is always faithful. He will never fail you when you return fully to Him. I can't keep doing this. I can't keep listening to advice that led me straight into loss, straight into regret. For so long, I thought I could separate the wisdom from the person giving it. I thought I could follow guidance while ignoring the underlying motives, the risk, the things I already felt in my heart. But I was wrong. Every time I sought direction from someone who didn't share God's heart for me, I strayed further from the path of peace, further from the safety and wisdom He offers freely. I can't do that anymore. Not if I want to rebuild, not if I want to walk in true restoration. Lord, help me have the courage to release what isn't from You, even when it feels familiar or comfortable. Help me let go of the voices that pull me away from Your guidance. Help me discern clearly between what leads to blessing and what leads to destruction. I want Your wisdom to guide me, not human confidence that masquerades as certainty. I want your peace to direct my steps, not the pressures or promises of others. Sometimes restoration begins with separation. Sometimes the first step to reclaiming peace, rebuilding trust, and walking in God's wisdom is removing the influences that lead you astray. It's not bitterness, it's not revenge. It's obedience. It's understanding that my life, my heart, and my future are too precious to leave in the hands of voices that don't honor God's guidance. From this moment on, I will guard my heart, my choices, and my trust, and I will let the Lord's voice be the loudest, clearest, and truest guide in my life.
Sometimes restoration begins with separation. It begins with choosing to release what leads you away from God and stepping fully into the path He prepares for you. The process is not easy, but it is necessary for true peace, true wisdom, and lasting restoration.
This time has to be different. I can't rush. I can't rely on what seems easy or what someone else tells me will be the shortcut to success. I've learned the hard way that human advice, confidence, and pressure can only take me so far, and often, they lead to loss when I ignore God's voice. I've experienced the pain, the regret, the consequences of walking ahead of Him. And I never want to feel that helpless, that broken, that lost again. So this time, I will wait. I will seek God's guidance before every step, every choice, every opportunity. I will not lean on my own understanding, and I will not allow anyone else's ambition to replace His wisdom in my life. I will trust Him completely, even if the path is slow, even if it doesn't look as flashy or certain as before. His timing is perfect, and His plan is always better than my own. I want to build my life on honesty, on faithfulness, and on the knowledge that every success, every blessing, every breakthrough comes from God first, not shortcuts, not schemes, not relying on the wrong voices. I've seen what happens when I chase temporary gain without discernment. I've lost far too much to risk that again. This time, I will be patient. This time, I will be faithful. This time, I will trust God fully to open the right doors at the right time, and I will walk through them with integrity, not compromise. Lord, guide me to the right work, to the right opportunities, and to the right people. Let my hands do what honors You. Let my decisions reflect Your wisdom. Let every step I take be rooted in Your guidance, not in fear, not in pressure, not in the desire for quick success. This time, I choose to wait on You, and I choose to trust You with everything, my future, my heart, my life.
Sometimes, a new beginning doesn't come from what we chase, but from what we surrender. True success, true restoration, and lasting peace come when we wait on God, when we trust Him fully, and when we allow His wisdom to guide every step. Ethan's journey is not over, but this moment marks the start of walking in obedience, integrity, and faith. Ethan, I haven't seen you this peaceful in months. You are sitting there like a weight has been lifted off your shoulders. Your hands aren't trembling, your voice isn't tight, and you're not lost in thought the whole time. It's like, finally, you are fully present, fully at rest. After everything that happened, the loss, the betrayal, the regret, I wasn't sure we'd ever see this side of you so soon. What changed?
Rachel. It's strange, isn't it? I lost money, yes. I lost opportunities, trust, and even a bit of my confidence along the way. But I've come to realize something far more valuable than anything I could have gained through shortcuts or schemes. I found wisdom. I found peace in knowing that life isn't about how fast I climb or how much I gain in a single move. It's about learning to trust God fully, waiting for His guidance, and walking each step with integrity. I may have lost money, but I gained clarity, discernment, and a perspective that no loss can ever take away.
That's what I've noticed, Ethan. You've grown in ways money or success could never teach you. You're not just quiet because the chaos has passed, you're quiet because your heart has settled. You've chosen to trust God, even when it was hard, even when the losses were heavy. And that kind of peace, that's real. That's lasting. That's what makes even small moments, like this dinner, feel so full and meaningful.
You're right. I've been chasing things that didn't matter. Quick success, approval from people, the illusion of security. I thought those would make me happy, give me peace. But they only brought worry, regret, and stress. Now, even with this simple dinner, even with a modest meal and no grand plans, I feel richer than I ever did before. Because now I understand that peace, wisdom, and trust in God are far more valuable than money, popularity, or recognition. I may have lost a lot, but I've gained what truly matters, and that is enough for me.
Sometimes the greatest victories aren't measured by wealth, titles, or recognition. Sometimes, the greatest victory is finding peace, wisdom, and trust in God after loss. True restoration begins not with the return of what was taken, but with the heart fully surrendered, the mind fully aligned, and the spirit fully at rest.
Good morning, everyone. I want to share a part of my life with you today. A part that was painful, humbling, and full of lessons I didn't want to learn the hard way. For a long time, I believed that I could navigate life using my own understanding, and sometimes, relying on people I thought knew what was best. I trusted human advice more than I trusted God's guidance. I thought that boldness, quick decisions, and the pressure to succeed would secure my future. I thought I could handle everything on my own. And I paid the price for it. Dearly. The losses, the mistakes, the regrets, they were heavy, and I felt utterly alone. But in the midst of that loss, in the quiet moments of despair, I realized something profound. God did not abandon me. Even when I ignored His still, small voice, even when I chased human confidence instead of His wisdom, even when I let pride and fear guide my decisions, He was still there. He was still watching. He was still waiting for me to return. And when I finally humbled myself, admitted my mistakes, and surrendered fully to Him, He began to restore my life, piece by piece, step by step. He gave me wisdom, patience, discernment, and a sense of peace that no loss, no mistake, and no failure could take away. I want you all to hear this. God's restoration doesn't always look like instant success, wealth, or recognition. Sometimes it begins quietly, in the heart, in the willingness to surrender, in the decision to trust Him fully. And sometimes it begins by letting go of influences, habits, and choices that pull you away from His guidance. I learned that trusting God is not about avoiding mistakes, but about walking in His wisdom even when the path is uncertain. It's about being faithful, obedient, and patient, believing that He is always able to turn what seems like loss into a lesson, into a blessing, into a testimony. So I stand here today, not as someone who never failed, not as someone who never lost or made mistakes, but as someone who learned the most important lesson of all: God is faithful. Even when we fall, He lifts us. Even when we stray, He calls us back. Even when we are broken, He restores us. And if you take anything from my story, let it be this: trust Him completely, surrender fully, and never put human understanding above His guidance. Because when you do, His peace, wisdom, and restoration will follow, and He will never abandon you.
Sometimes, the greatest testimony comes not from what we achieve, but from what we survive, and what we learn along the way. When we return to God fully, even after loss, even after mistakes, He restores us. He gives wisdom, peace, and a story that can inspire others to trust Him more.
I've come a long way. Farther than I realized. I chased opportunities. I listened to voices that seemed promising. I trusted advice that I thought would lead me forward. And I paid the price. The losses, the mistakes, the confusion, they were real, and they were painful. But through all of it, I've learned the most important lesson of my life. Human advice can fail. People can mislead. People can make mistakes. And even the best intentions can lead to the wrong path if God isn't at the center. But God's word, His guidance, His promises, they never fail. His wisdom is perfect. His timing is flawless. And His restoration is real, even when we feel broken, even when we feel lost, even when we've been led astray by human confidence. I've learned that peace comes when we return fully, when we surrender completely, and when we trust Him above all else. Nothing else can replace that. Nothing else can satisfy that. Nothing else can guide us as surely as His word. So I will continue to walk in His wisdom. I will let His word guide my choices, His promises shape my hopes, and His peace guard my heart. I will be patient, I will be obedient, and I will trust. Completely. Because I've learned the hard way that everything else can fail. But God never will.
Human advice can fail. God's word never does. When we trust Him fully, walk in obedience, and surrender our hearts to His guidance, even the deepest loss becomes a lesson, every mistake becomes a teacher, and every trial becomes a testimony of His faithfulness. The path of restoration begins with surrender, continues with trust, and ends in His peace. Trusting God may seem slow. Sometimes the path is quiet, the answers delayed, and the results unseen. We may feel impatient. We may look around at others who seem to be moving faster, achieving more, or gaining recognition. But the truth is, those who trust human wisdom over God's guidance often pay a heavy price: loss, regret, and lessons learned the hard way. Trusting people over God may seem easier at first, but it is costly in ways money, status, or approval can never repair. Trusting God may seem slow, but trusting people over God is costly. But when we place our trust fully in the Lord, when we seek His guidance in every choice, and when we surrender our hearts to His wisdom, blessings come, not always in ways we expect, and not always at the speed we desire, but with perfect timing, peace, and restoration. God's plans are never hurried, never careless, and never flawed. He knows what we need before we even ask, and He provides in ways that transform our lives for good. Jeremiah 17 verse 7, Blessed is the one who trusts in the Lord. Be blessed today as you place your trust fully in God. Let His word guide your steps, let His timing direct your decisions, and let His peace guard your heart. When we learn to trust Him above all else, we discover that even in the midst of loss, failure, or uncertainty, there is hope, restoration, and abundant life. Remember, God never abandons those who place their full confidence in Him. Thank you for watching this story of faith, trust, and restoration. Your time, your attention, and your heart mean so much. Remember, life is full of challenges, mistakes, and lessons, but God's guidance is always sure, His wisdom always perfect, and His restoration always real. If this story touched you, inspired you, or encouraged you to trust God more fully, share it with someone who needs hope today. May your faith be strengthened, your heart be guided, and your life be filled with peace and wisdom. Thank you for joining us on this journey, and may God bless you abundantly.